Yeah. Also, I did just kind of just want to mention to the people watching, S in the chat for patience because he was here and he didn't check in.
No.
He pulled the
I
BR.
mean, he said he was having trouble. No, you know what it was like. I'm not buying it. I ain't buying it for a sec. You know what happened, like? Yun, he forgot to sign up, and then Patience, in solidarity, decided, you know what? I'm not gonna sign up either then. And that's how it happened. But yeah, half of Patience, we do love watching him. But we're not going to be watching him today. Instead, for right now in this match, happening on Oxide LE. We're getting oxidized up in here. Over the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way at the top right-hand corner, we have the Blues player coming out from the land of South Korea. He is going to be representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. We have Dark.
And spawning in at the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, representing Team NV, as well as this anime thing. I don't.
It's Japanese.
There's
like some letters at the bottom there.
Oh yeah, there are letters there. Letters. You know what? If there's any anime fans in the chat, let us know. What is this? What even?
Yeah, Dastan. What is that?
At Dastan, we have the South Korean Protoss player. He is NightMare.
It comes with the dark.
Oh.
I wanted to say darkness, but darkness is a different player.
That's the problem, right? Like, I was talking about this to Yoda. There are so many dark players. I mean, like, name-wise, by the way, people. Like, there's a lot of, like, there's Darkness, there's Dark, there's Dark King, there's another Dark who's actually from Mexico as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Dark Unnamed.
There's Dark, yeah, there's Dark Unnamed. Like, hey, what's going on?
Too much. That's what I was saying. It's too much. It's becoming New Phoenix, is what it's becoming.
Yeah, I'm just saying, there's all the dark, but where's all the light?
Well, I mean, there's Australian light, there's Romanian light, there's like Place Brood War.
Your Romanian light, he is not active anymore, man. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
F's for Romanian light, man.
F's for Romanian lights. I still remember that, like, for whatever reason, a bunch of people confused me for him. They're like, "Hey, I love your stream," and I'm like, "Yeah," I'm like, "No, that's not me."
Well, I mean, it's better than being somehow mistaken for being Kuro.
That happened to you?
Yeah, it did.
The hell?
They're like, "Hey, thanks for helping Crank admin or mod or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. I don't admin for Crank though."
God damn it. I mean, they were close. They almost got there. But we do see, just like in the previous series, NightMare, just going for that Stargate.
Yeah, may as well. A nice, safe way of opening in the PvZ matchup. But he's going to start with the Void Ray, the Phoenix, or jump straight into the Oracle. So that is going to be the question. That is what you got to get your eyes on when it comes to, you know, how he's going to play out the Stargate opening.
Yeah, definitely. And Dark, he is not like Rex. He's not foregoing that scouting information. He dips on in. He checks the gases. He sees the wall. And, I mean, he's going to spot the Void Ray anyway once it comes out to deal with that Overlord.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that is... As a Zerg player, let me ask you this, Light. When you see a Void Ray killing your Overlords, do you feel a little bit relieved? Do you feel a little bit like, oh, I could have been an Oracle that's about to murder my drone line, or, oh, I could have been a Phoenix that has more utility as the game goes on?
Nowadays, I'm okay with it, just because I've switched things up and I prioritize, like, pneumatized carapace to make sure all my overlords get home. Yeah, as in, like, I prioritize it over, like, link speed at this point.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not sure if I will go that far. But...
Yeah. Oreo sent me this build. He's like, yo, you gotta do this because of the Void Rays. I'm like, all right, okay. But yeah, otherwise it can be frustrating when you know you have, like, 3 Overlords out there, and then you know that they're not gonna make it home.
So I'm just gonna take a guess based on that Numanized Carapace mention. That's not the build that Dark is going for? You know,
No,
Dark, not a big fan of Oreo?
Not at all. We all know that Dark, he's more of an NXZ kind of guy, more of a Ryan kind of guy.
True. He does like his Ryan.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
Meanwhile, I love what NightMare is doing. We have seen this a couple of times. He started off with a Stargate opening. He's denying a lot of vision. He went with the Oracle straight into that Twilight Council.
Yeah, going to be transitioning right out immediately into the next phase of the game.
Yeah, and what's important about that, as the Oracle almost gets... Oh god, oh god, no, the Queens!
We'll be able to get that final hit in, denying that recall. And again, Oracles, they scale really well. If you're able to take one out at the start of the game, you really have so much less to worry about as it goes on.
Exactly, right? Like when you have 2 Oracles, you can micro them, you can have the higher health one, tank a couple more Spore Shots, you can kind of snowball a little bit, snipe a lot of workers, but that's not going to be happening now that NightMare, he's down to 1.
Yeah, maybe you can try to get a couple of suicide missions, but I feel like best case scenario, you use it for revelations, use it for stasis wards. Don't want to be, taking too many risks here with that Oracle, especially not with Goosebine to Hydros on the way here for Dark.
Exactly, and this is something that NightMare has not scouted. He is not aware that we have this Hydra transition coming out from Dark. To be fair, NightMare, he's going for a fairly solid army, or fairly solid composition, as he is looking to go into that Archon charged composition.
Yeah, I would argue the most well-rounded army for Protoss. Maybe not the most effective army, but it's certainly going to cover a lot of blind spots that the Protoss army has got. And on top of that, it's beefy. There's a reason we call it the beef wave.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of beef, a lot of Kobe, if you will, in that army.
Well, not quite yet, because the Archons are... I mean, the Templar Archives is still yet to be finished up, but yeah, pretty soon we're going to have that slow braised beef coming out here.
Yeah, not soon enough though, because we have all the Hydras taking out the rocks. I hate those rocks, they slow down pushes so much, so Dark does immediately deal with that, and now there's almost nothing.
The army's out of position, like... There's a single Archon, and this is something that Dark will have to take seriously, especially with the battery overcharge being utilized. But again, this is an army of NightMare that's just about trapped, and Trap ain't even playing this game.
Exactly, he's somewhere else in the bracket right now, as it's just a lone Archon. The Warp Prism isn't even being sniped out of the sky. There's just so many Hydras here. The Zealots only just being warped in.
And they will apply a bit of a bruise in here. Shield battery still available there, but battery overcharge unfortunately used up earlier on. And Dark, I mean, he just completely avoided that.
Exactly, like the overcharge, it was wasted at the 3rd base. A bunch of production gets depowered as well. And Dark, he hit this timing where it was just before charge finished, so he was able to deal with the Archons before the Zealots were there for support, and now the Lings flood in.
Indeed, they do. And with that, NightMare, he's trying to hold on. He knows that there's got to be a way for him to turn this around, but he just can't find it. Dark is absolutely forcing this push. I did not even notice he didn't have Hydra speed.
Not even Hydra speed. They slow crawled their way across the map. The Void Ray gets taken out. Lings are getting into the main base, and at this point, NightMare, like, he had a good plan, but...
GG is called. Dark, making that look absolutely effortless.
Beautiful.
We actually have a little bit of information coming in here in the chat now. Like, Vitnare, hope I'm pronouncing that right, is telling us that Dark's contract for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, I'm assuming recently has run up, as Liquipedia still has it listed as a DPG player.
Oh.
But that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You might look for the team now. Or stay on. Who knows? Alright, we need to speculate here, Light. If Dark doesn't stay on Dragon Phoenix Gaming, what would you go for? I want to say, okay, what team needs Dragon Phoenix Gaming? Or what team needs Dark? I would say, normally I would say KaiZ Gaming, but they did recently, and by recently I mean like months ago, pick up Solar.
Yeah, KaiZ Gaming and Team NV, I believe, they kind of had like a little bit of a roster shuffle. It was either NV or LP, one of the lettered ones. I mean, they're all lettered ones, to be fair. But yeah, they did kind of just switch.
Okay, to be fair, last time we had like SKT and KT.
True.
We still have Jaguar, so.
But Vitnare in Twitch chat, if you have a source for that, we would love it so that we could update Liquipedia. If it is true, right? Because Liquipedia, we kind of need sources. We need like some kind of verification before we change the team on a player.
Especially on the main page.
Yeah.
But till then, you know, Dark, he's still gonna be enjoying that DPG at the start of his name.
Yeah, yeah. For now, for the time being, again, I'm not too sure how long these contracts usually are. Sometimes they're 3 months, sometimes they're 6 months, sometimes they're a year. It would be a little bit of a shame if Dark left. I'm just quickly checking the roster because they have Cure and they have Parting,
still,
but
yeah, I was gonna say, still Parting and Cure, isn't it? But then they'll have to look for another Zerg player, and Rogue's already in Jin Air.
Oh, is he though?
Is he though? He probably is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it would be a bit of a shame because I don't know if Dark is leaving the team, then does that, you know, spell bad news for the rest of the team? It's hard to say. I know some of these Chinese teams have been having a harder time of things, but I think now towards the end of 2020, it isn't as bad as it used to be.
Thanks, Rona. But yeah, fingers crossed, and hopefully things are still going pretty good there. But till then, we are now going to be loading in onto Romanticide LE. LE, of course, standing for Lovers Enchiladas. Lovers Enchiladas. That's when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you're having the Valentine's Day special. And if you bring your significant other, you get the Lovers Enchiladas. Spicy. Over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the Blue Zerg player. From now from the land of South Korea. He is going to be, I'm going to say, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, just because he still's got that on his name for now. But he is Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Korean Protoss player, the South Korean Purple Protoss, representing Team NV, as well as this anime. It is NightMare.
I'm actually curious now which one it is. The thought did not enter my head until you continued, or I was not bothered at all by what anime that was from until you were like, "Hey, coming from this anime," and then I saw no Japanese letters, and I'm like, "Wait, that's like a screenshot from somewhere. That's not fan art."
Is that even Japanese letters? Like,
well,
it looks kind of
they're half letters.
Yeah.
It could be stylized English.
We need answers to this. That's what we need.
Milk, where you at?
It could be stylized English, actually. I don't know.
It could be.
Huh.
It doesn't look Chinese to me, or Korean.
It looks a little bit Thai, not gonna lie.
A little bit, honestly.
Yeah.
But that's also because you only see half of it.
This is accurate. We're relying on half of a language that we may not even know.
We're relying on half a language and neither of us speak or read.
Exactly. So you know what? Take our guesses.
They look different.
Yeah, take our guesses with a grain of salt because we got no idea.
Yeah. And besides, most of the salt is going to be coming from. Actually, none of these players are that salty.
Yeah.
Dark streams he gets mad, but I wouldn't call it overly salty.
And it's also possible that NightMare does induce a little bit of salt from his players, from his opponents, I should say. It's hard to tell. Every now and then. But this time, there is no Stargate coming out from NightMare. And honestly, I kind of like this just because the Oracle was kind of shut down hard in the previous game. And bearing in mind that we just saw him versus Rex, and this is the map that he went Glaives on.
Indeed it was, and that leads you to wonder that maybe for NightMare it could be a map-specific thing, or it could just be I'll throw it in the second game of the series thing. But yeah, I am liking the idea of Glaives of Depths a lot more than going for those Stargate openings. Dark has been known in the past to cut corners if he doesn't scout, but already on top of it, Overlord getting right on top of this tech.
Exactly.
Right in the middle of this.
Yeah, and if you recall, Rex, like it was like 4 minutes 30 before he didn't scout, before we realized that he didn't scout with his Overlord, so Dark a lot more adept with it. Oh, has to be careful with the Stalker.
And it does, in fact, go down, but NightMare is able to quickly plug up that hole. Dark try to focus on the shield battery.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop the link, so they do chip away, but in the end, the Adept does get warped in just in time.
I don't think he even did any. Okay, did a little bit of hull damage there.
a little bit.
Yeah, that means it's going to be easier for him, like, you know, when he pushes in later on.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
It's going to make the difference. It's going to make all the difference.
It's like one less nibble of a Ling. But what's important as well, especially when we compare it to Rex, because Rex did face NightMare earlier on in this tournament. The Roach Warden is already done. We already have Roaches on the way. It's going to be so much easier for Dark to defend against these Glaives.
Yeah, if he defends. Okay, he's probably going to defend. I was thinking back to maybe one game. For some reason, one game in my mind where Dark decided, you know what? Best defense, good offense.
Yeah, like...
But, yeah, he hasn't really done that for a long time.
Yeah, I will say a bit of a difference is that Dark doesn't have anywhere near as many queens as Rex did. He was skimping out a little bit on them, so he has a little bit of a different army composition, so it's possible that NightMare could still deal some damage. It's going to be a little bit harder for Dark to shut down that War Prism and, you know, and ward it away with these queens.
Which is why you get some Ravages.
Yeah, exactly. Going to be looking to bile it down as soon as the War Prism sieges up.
He will, or even if he's not able to siege it up, get a little bit of zoning done. Actually going a little bit far off creep and is able to chase NightMare back this dramatically.
Yeah, this is... Ravagers. Honestly, that was kind of surprising. At the same time, look at how many Lings were waiting for, like, NightMare to come into a shade or something along those lines. Ooh, nice snipe on the Observer. As this is all happening, of course, we saw it last time. We do have a Disruptor coming in from NightMare, and he forces a recall.
He does. Just about a lot of these adepts are going to get surrounded. I wasn't quite sure if those vials actually did manage to connect or not, but it seems like a couple of adepts died regardless. And now, yeah, the Void Ray? No. Disruptor, the other anti-armor unit for Protoss, is starting to come out. But will he actually be able to get much done here, NightMare?
Yeah, exactly. And he's forced to cancel his third base. And the big thing is that look at NightMare's bank. Like, NightMare, normally he's like warping in rounds and rounds of adepts, but he just hasn't had the opportunity and he could lose his Warpism. No!
Warpism running straight into the line of queens, and it does get taken right out. This harass has just about been shut down. NightMare, he's going to have to get the absolute most value he can from these couple of adepts. And okay, 7 drones for four adepts, that's decent, but he's gonna have a lot more he needs to do.
Exactly, and the problem is that he invested in War Prism speed and these disruptors, and he can't go across the map without a War Prism. Like, he has to finish up this disruptor and then make another War Prism because he lost it earlier.
And by then, I mean, Galalar Constitution is about to be finished. Dark, he's already gonna be right on top of NightMare's face. I mean, he already is with these Lings.
Yeah, exactly.
It's threatening.
Just consistently denying that third base, making it so difficult for NightMare to expand. And sure, earlier he killed a handful of drones, but it was nowhere near enough damage. He has to do something with his opener, something with these disruptors.
He could.
All right, here we go. War Prism's done.
Yeah, War Prism is done, and he is sending them across the map. But interestingly for Dark, he is not being overly aggressive here. I mean, you did mention that earlier on. Dark, he's not really known for being too aggressive. He does like to play a little more careful. It's only his Lings that are sent across the maps. The Roach Ravager still back at home, still awaiting for some kind of counter to harass.
Oh, exactly. And a lot of these things are going to be shaved off. Meanwhile, we do have the disruptors. Biles missed, and he does get a queen.
All right, damage. Not the most efficient purification Novas, but free is free.
Yeah,
May as well use them up.
Again, like, there's a lot of value here, so he can potentially over time get a lot of value, like getting more roaches, getting more drones of that nature, as long as he doesn't lose this War Prism.
And that's going to be the big if. I mean, if you can take out a couple of queens here and there with these Novas, it will get so much better for him. But Dark, I think you said enough, Light. That's an infestation pit. That's about 2/3 complete.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ask you, because I myself am not too sure. What's the infestation bit for? What does he want to go for?
I'm gonna say Hive. I'm gonna say he wants to go for his Ultralisks. Yeah. It's a little bit ballsy to do when you know your opponent is going for disruptors, but Dark, he's a ballsy player.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the thing is that typically when we see an infestation pit, it's like, oh, maybe it's like for lurker upgrades, but there's no hydrogen whatsoever. And we do see he is working on that hive.
He is. I'm waiting for it. I am waiting for it. But NightMare, he is done waiting. Already moving across the map with... that's actually a lot of sentries. Not too much energy there, but if he can manage to get the force fields down, have some kind of miracle engagement, he can absolutely take this game. But yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. There is one disruptor behind this army. It looks like he's trying to engage. The biles do land on some of these units.
Nicely done here by Dark. The Lings are streaming on forward. And they do manage to get a couple more units out.
Yeah, it gets a couple of overlords here and there. And what's surprising is that there it is. Pneumatized Carapace finally on the way because we have a couple of slow dropper lords making their way very slowly to NightMare's bases.
That's just a suspense. Dark, he's into the psychological advantages they can sort of get. Make your opponent worry a little bit. Okay, really nice snipes there with the Banelings, but I feel like Dark is just way too much. He's got way too much.
Yeah, I mean, the scary thing is that the energy is starting to run out. Like, NightMare, he doesn't want to overstay his welcome. Maybe he has one more engagement in him before he's forced to recall, and he hasn't dealt any economic damage. He's just trading for the army. Meanwhile, the slow dropper lords, they're getting closer.
Oh, there are stalkers in position!
He gets
and it takes away one of them. No damage done there. Meanwhile, over on the right side, not a lot of damage done either.
Oh god!
These Banelings, they're getting close! They're getting close! They're getting close! Oh, only one Baneling, not going to be enough to take them out. But meanwhile, the main engagement is not going good whatsoever for NightMare.
Exactly.
Wiped out.
Yeah, the entire army was surrounded by the Lings, and then he just biled the center juiciness of all of that. NightMare went down.
And Dark. Man, if Dragon Phoenix Gaming kicked him out, I don't know what they're thinking. And no, Dark wasn't kicked out. His contract merely expired. They renew it.
GG, Dark with the 2-0 over NightMare. Again, kind of expected. It's pretty interesting when we get to see NightMare versus Rex first and then NightMare versus Dark, and we can see kind of like the tiers of player, like how they improve and the differences between them, and that was just such a clean play.
Indeed it was. It was pretty clean play in the first series from the side of NightMare, and okay, decently clean from Rex as well. I feel like you could argue that came down to a couple of mistakes here and there, but yeah, that was, again, Dark. He just makes those games so effortless. And now he's going to go up again for a ZvT. He's going to be facing Time.
Oh boy, I love it. Time, he signs up whenever he can. It's not like every single week, but this is such a treat, right? It's not just Time, it's a ZvT. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It is dark out, Bill Air is saying. The time is dark.
Or is it a dark time?
Dark times. Coming down.
Oh boy.